Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for attending today's Superannuation 101 webinar. We'll just give everyone a few moments to come in to the webinar and we'll commence shortly, so just bear with us. Thank you. Alrighty, let's get this happening. Good afternoon, everyone. Again, my name's Michelle Seguera. I'm one of your member account managers with Brighter Super. An important part of my role is guiding valued members towards a comfortable retirement. And by the end of today's webinar, we aim to give you some useful information on the basics of superannuation. I am joined today by one of our member account specialists, Christine, Chriso. She goes by a lot of names, but I like Christine. She'll be monitoring your questions in the chat today. Before we start, Brighter Super does acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands on which we're meeting and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. We acknowledge and celebrate the continuation of a living culture that is unique and has a unique role in this region. Before we start, it's important to understand the information and examples contained in the webinar today are general in nature and have been prepared without taking into account your individual objectives, financial situations or needs. It is important when making decisions about your super options that you obtain the relevant product disclosure statement or PDS and target market determination and consider your own personal circumstances. You can access these two documents in the privacy policy and our financial services guide from the Brighter Super website, brightersuper.com.au. Today's presentation will take around about 30 minutes, and we know that many of you have submitted questions already beforehand, and we've tried to incorporate a lot of these into the presentation today. Good thing though is if you do have questions that come up, we've got a Q&A feature in the chat during the presentation today, which will aim to answer directly for you. And as I mentioned earlier, we've got Christine standing by as our moderator. I'll welcome Christine on the screen if you want to say hello.
Oh, good evening, everyone. I'm looking forward to answering any questions you may have during the presentation. Just feel free to, pop the questions in the Q&A section and I'll try and answer those. And if not, we can answer them at the end. So
that's
looking forward to it. Thanks,
Michelle.
Thanks.
Thanks, Chris. Chris is, like I mentioned, she's one of our account specialists and she's out in the field regularly doing super health checks to our members all across Queensland. Chris, how long have you been with Brighter Super?
All up 9 years started at Suncorp. So yeah, been talking superannuation all that time. So really enjoy it.
Perfect. Excellent.
Passionate about it. Thanks,
Thank you. Don't be shy, anyone. Just put those questions in the chat and Chris is right there to help you out. We will have time for questions that are unanswered at the end, but during the presentation, we'll try and answer as many as possible. We're also going to be asking you who are watching some poll questions during today's presentation. So when it comes up on your screen, we'd love it if you'd participate and answer the question with an answer that's most appropriate to you. So before we may move into our main topic today, I'd just like to take the opportunity to briefly explain who Brighter Super is, as we do have some non-members joining us today online. So thank you for that. The merger between LGAI Super and Energy Super, plus an acquisition of Suncorp Super, has enabled us to increase our size and scale. We remained really committed and invested in the personalised member service that you know, love and enjoy, and we love doing it. So we serve around about 285,000 members and we manage around about $34 billion of funds under management, so quite a substantial amount. We've also received double digits returns for our balanced accumulation and our balanced pension options for the full year in 2024. So we're quite proud of that. Okay, now let's talk about superannuation. So The purpose of superannuation is to preserve savings to deliver income for a dignified retirement alongside government support in an equitable and sustainable way. Most of us make contributions every year, but we don't really think about how much we really need until it comes to the age of 50 or so. And then we think, oh my goodness, I haven't looked at it yet. What do I need to do? How do I manage this? So let's just explain how it works. So super's linked to your employment and your employer contributes money into your account on your behalf. Your money is then invested and any fees and insurance premiums are deducted and what remains is your benefit. So superannuation is important really now as it takes a long time to save up enough money to retire on. So making good decisions and creating early habits is quite essential. That's what we feel anyway. There are benefits of contributing extra to your super. So the money that your super is putting, that your employer is putting into super for you is a great start, but by adding a little bit more can make a huge difference to your retirement balance. And now is just the time to start thinking about your super, even if it does feel like a long way off. Compounding return does also make a difference, and you don't need a lot to see a big difference. So by contributing an extra $20 over 40 years, your balance could be $125,000. Then on the right-hand side there of that screen, if you see an extra $50 go into your super over extra 50 over a week, over 40 years, the balance could equate to a full $314,000. So this assumes a 5% return compounding annually before fees and costs. So quite a bit of a difference. So using the previous example of $20 a week until the age of 60, let's take a moment to look at how different this could be if you start extra contributions earlier or later in life. So that chart there you see by starting earlier, the age of 20, you have more time to actually benefit from compound returns on your super savings. So if you can imagine the difference that $125,000 plus would make to your retirement compared to that $13,000, it's quite a substantial difference. There are some important things to consider, though, before deciding whether to add extra funds into your super. So with all contribution types, there are contribution caps or limits to be mindful of, and we'll cover these caps later in the presentation. So depending on your level of income, some types of contributions may be more or less tax effective as well. So you should consider carefully what is right for you. And you should review your budget to ensure that you can actually support the reduction in take-home pay as well. It does affect that. Any additional contributions you make also form a part of your preservation amount, which you can't access until you meet a condition of release, which is generally retirement. The key word there is condition of release. That's very important for when you get closer to retirement. So now that we know what superannuation is and the potential benefits of increased contributions, we need to talk about ways of how to put this money into super. So essentially, there are two types of super contributions: concessional contributions, or before tax, which you see on the left side of your screen there, or non-concessional or after tax contributions on the right-hand side. The concessional contribution limit for the current financial year is $30,000. And these contributions are these types of contributions or concessional contributions are made from pre-tax money and include your employer contributions, any salary sacrifice that you make, whether that's mandated by your employer or voluntary, tax deductible contributions, and tax deductible personal contributions, sorry. And if you exceed this cap, excess contributions can be taxed at your marginal tax rate. So it's good to keep that in mind as well. Non-concessional contributions, or the ones on the right-hand side, comes from money that you've already paid tax on already. So as a result, these contributions are made after tax. So therefore, no further tax is actually deducted. So under the current rules, you can potentially contribute $120,000 per financial year. If you're under the age of 75, you can use a bring forward rule, which allows you to bring forward 3 years of contributions, which can be up to $360,000, depending on your total super balance. There are other considerations to make, so please consider seeking financial advice if this is something that's attractive to you. Later in the presentation, we will discuss on how we can help you with that at Brighter Super. So, how can we contribute money to super? So, just having a look at this one here, based on salary sacrifice, we did mention that on the previous slide. So generally speaking, salary sacrifice is a really tax effective way to make a contribution. When someone salary sacrifices, their employer sends a contribution to their super fund before the employer calculates how much tax they actually have to pay. So this means that people are able to actually reduce their taxable income before making tax contributions into super. I hope that makes sense. The example on the slide is for a person earning between $45,001 and $135,000. Their marginal tax rate in this bracket would be 30%. Okay, so and that's plus a Medicare levy of 2% if applicable. So if they're only earning over that $35,000, the tax rate actually may even be higher. I'm sure you can figure out which bracket you fall into though. Let's apply this to super contributions. So salary sacrifice contributions are taxed at 15%. That's the nice blue side of the screen that you see there. And when they enter the fund compared with after-tax contributions, which are taxed at your marginal tax rate. Salary sacrifice allows someone to send money that would normally be paid as tax into super. And if they're earning under $45,000 or over $250,000, a different tax rate may apply to those contributions. So please keep that in mind. It is important to note that if your combined income and concessional contributions exceeds $250,000, you may need to pay an additional tax on that super contribution. So there are some things to look at. Now, let's have a look at our poll question, our first poll question. Now that we've learned about salary sacrifice, do you actually salary sacrifice? Have a look how we go. Oh, awesome. That's great. So I would say 75% of you online at the moment are actually already doing this. Fantastic. That's great news. Fantastic. For the other people that aren't, maybe something to consider. So that's great. Thank you for that. And thank you for answering. Appreciate that. All righty, where are we? So let's have a look at this one. Actually, sorry about that. Let's go back on here. So let's assume we've got this example on the screen. Let's assume that this member is actually contributing $5,000 to their super and they earn between $45,000 and $1. $1, that really throws me every time I say that, and $135,000. If they make an after-tax contribution, the tax paid would be $1,500, as you can see there on the left-hand side. If their employer allows them to salary sacrifice, or if they claim a tax deduction, they'd be saving around about $750 per year based on the different tax rates. So it's extra money in your pocket if you do this. So it's up to you what you do with this money. You may have immediate financial commitments or looking forward to the future, but potentially it can be a really great way to boost your retirement savings as well. Here's another example I'd just like to show you. So this is introducing Tina. She's a hypothetical Brighter Super member, and her situation may have similarities to yours, but we've not considered Tina's personal circumstances in this scenario. So Tina's recently turned age 55, and she's in a position to make extra contributions to her super. She's looking at putting an extra $5,000 into her super via salary sacrifice. So let's have a look here. In option A, this is if she takes no action. So in option A, she chooses not to contribute anything extra, and she may retire with a balance of just over 258,000 that you see on the screen there. Let's have a look at what she does if she does salary sacrifice. So option B, you can see there, if T does contribute that $5,000 for 5 years, she could potentially grow her super into just over $280,291, which includes that savings of just over 4,600 in tax along the way. So based on these assumptions and considering her circumstances, Tina may be able to save money in tax, boost her super balance by contributing via salary sacrifice in her super. So as you can see, small changes over a period of time can make quite a big difference. So as you know, I'm sure you know, Brighter Super, we're here to help you. Our website that we have it's got a range of resources that you can self-serve and have a look at, including our salary sacrifice calculator. It allows you to find out how much you can maximize your super by contributing before and or after tax. So you can find this and other calculators under the resource tab, which is highlighted in red on your screen. It takes around about 10 minutes to complete. It's pretty straightforward. And it also gives you the option to see if you can afford to contribute more by reducing your take-home pay. So just remember, once again, that small changes can make a difference over time. I'm going to talk about another type of contribution here in a bit more detail. This is one of our pre-submitted questions for today's webinar, and it's actually called the carry forward contribution. So a person may be able to access any unused concessional caps from previous years based on several criteria. So this came into effect in the year of 2019-2020, in that financial year, and eligible members have up to 5 years they can use any unused concessional amounts. Okay, so for example, if a member has unused concessional amounts accrued in 2019-2020 financial year, the last year they are able to contribute these amounts is 2024-25. So to be eligible for this carry forward contribution rule, you must have a super balance of under 500,000 at the start of the financial year in which a contribution is made. And remember, concessional contributions may include your salary sacrifice and tax deductible contributions. You can track these type of contributions through MyGov under the superannuation tab. This really could help a member who's just taken time out of the workforce. It can be a great opportunity to get back on track for retirement. And remember, any monies put into super are only available once you reach retirement age. So for this strategy, we really do recommend seeking advice to ensure that it's actually right for you, and making sure you do your research as well. There are other ways which you can get money into super as well. So depending on your personal circumstances, there are other types of contributions available. They're up on the screen now for you. In addition to discussing those carry forward contribution rules, these ones include your spouse contribution, your bring forward contribution, which we spoke about, downsizer contribution, government co-contribution, and the low income tax offset. Like any of the other ones, like there's rules, of course, that apply and eligibility requirements as well. So for more information, please visit the website. There's a lot of information out there, and reach to us if you need extra guidance and help. Okay, so once you've got your money in your super and you want to see it grow, of course you do. You'll want to sustain it through your retirement, of course. We do this by investing it. So your money is actually invested, which is great. The reason why investing produces a return is because there is actually risk involved. So if someone gives you $1 and you expect them to pay you back $1.20 the next year, there is a risk involved that you won't get your money back. Let's hope that's not the case, but there is risk involved. This is the key to investing, is understanding that risk. So Brighter Super's aim is to grow our members' super balances and provide consistent, keyword, consistent returns. This means we really want your investment to grow when markets are performing strongly and really reduce the impact when markets start to fall. We place really big value on diversification, which means not having all your eggs in one basket. And to achieve this, we offer ready-made investment options which spread your money across a number of different asset classes to reduce the level of risk. Each of our ready-made options that we have offer benefits of our strategically chosen investments. So depending on what stage of your working life you're at, and also taking into consideration what your retirement goals may be and how long you've actually got until retirement, or you're pending in retirement, you may want to take more or less risk. Everybody's different, and it's there's no right or wrong for everybody. We have lots of options for you, so to speak. So we're going to talk about this a little bit over the next couple of slides. So some people think of their super as a single asset, but it can potentially be invested in many different assets. Most super funds offer different type of investment choices for their members as well. Investment choices selecting which asset class you're invested in, such as Australian shares, you may have heard of, international shares, fixed interest, cash, or property. Investment options offered by super funds can either be diversified, which means investing in a mix of different asset classes, or a single sector option, which is investing in just one asset class. Diversification can be achieved by choosing ready-made diversified options such as a growth or balanced investment option, or by choosing a mix of those single sector options and choosing your own mix of different asset classes rather than a ready-made mix. Asset classes such as equities, these are also known as shares, are described as growth assets. They may see volatility over the short term, and the value may go up and down in waves, but over the long time periods, they're generally, they experience high growth. Asset classes such as cash, fixed interest, they're sometimes described as defensive options, or I like to say defending options. They carry less risk in terms of volatility, and less risk of potential capital loss as well. They do actually offer less potential for high returns though, but these options are generally described as low risk and low return. You may have heard that before. Ready-made diversified options are made up of a mix of growth and defensive asset classes. So in knowing this, let's move on to our next poll question. Do you know which investment option you are currently in? Oh, okay. Oh, half and half. Okay, thank you, folks. That's a really good indication and a great homework option to take on, and possibly jump online into our member online portal. And on the left-hand side, you will see you can click your investment options and have a look where you're invested, and just get a feeling of if you're happy with that. So now that you know a little bit about investing and diversification, that would be a really good homework task to do. So I encourage that. Okay. How you doing, Chris? You good there?
Yeah, I'm doing good, thank you.
Beautiful,
Interesting with the
beautiful.
poll results.
Oh,
Yeah.
excellent. Yeah, thank you. Don't forget, Chris is there to answer your questions whenever you're ready, everybody. Okay. So often when people talk about investment choices, I'm actually asked the question, what's the best way to invest my super or my asset? And as you could probably imagine, there's not one single investment option or profile that would fit Everybody's different, and that's okay. There are a number of things that you can consider when choosing the right risk profile for you. So, what is a risk profile? A risk profile is an individual measure of how you feel about risk and return, or risk versus return. Keep in mind that that's always a trade-off between these two, and it takes into account your tolerance to markets when they fall, as well as your investment time frame and your desired return outcomes. So everybody's different in this sense. In a perfect world, we'd all love amazing high returns. I know I would, without any falls. However, generally speaking, the more risk you take, the better return you should expect in the long term. However, there's a greater chance of big swings, including those negative returns in the short term. So an example is an aggressive investment is expected to generate a higher rate of return over the long term. However, it's likely to fluctuate more in value. And what this means is that your investment may grow faster over time. However, it will generally lose more when the market dips and produce more frequent negative return years. So a more conservative investment, you may have heard of that word before, conservative investment, on the other hand, is likely to have fewer negative returns overall, but it may not drop as far as an aggressive investment option in a downturn. The trade-offs is less downside risk, is that the positive returns are expected to be lower over the long term. So in knowing all this, understanding your risk profile and your investment risk is really important to help you better prepare for market movements and make really informed decisions. Being invested outside your risk profile is actually a risk in itself. So if you're invested too conservatively, the risk maybe you might be missing out on potential returns that you could have. But if you invest too aggressively, you may see greater falls during the market instability that you're comfortable with. So both of the scenarios don't result in optimal outcome. So it's important you know where you sit and what you're comfortable with. In saying this, you can find the investment risk profile under our web page under the resources tab. A lot of great information in there. Okay, so moving on to insurance, which is our next topic within this webinar, and often a efficient way to take out death insurance, total permanently disabled insurance, and income protection, taking these out through your super. It's very important insurance, and basically ensures that your loved ones are taken care of if you can no longer take care of them yourself. Your employer's super contributions and salary sacrifice contributions are taxed at 15%, and this is lower than the market tax rate for most people. This can make paying for insurance through super quite tax effective for you as well. It is important only to only ensure what you need with the right level of cover, so you're not actually paying more for your premiums than necessary. So it's a matter of what you need versus what you get. So it's a good homework task as well. There are three types of insurance that you can include in your super on the screen right now. Excuse me. Death, TPD, and income protection you see there. So death and terminal illness in the purple there provides your loved ones with a lump sum amount if you were to pass away. The TPD in the middle in the green is a lump sum as well, pay out if you suffer from a totally and permanent disablement, or we call it TPD for short. And in the blue there on the right-hand side is your income protection. It pays an income if you're injured and otherwise or injured, unable to work for a period of time. Life insurance pays your loved ones if you pass away and become terminally ill. It means you don't have to worry about money during what will already be a bit of a rough time, a sensitive time. Want to make sure that those finances are looked after as well. They're really important insurances, and they do work really well when managed properly. You do need to make sure, though, that you do actually have the right cover for you, and all the eligibility requirements are met as well. Alrighty, so we've covered a lot today, but one last thing I do want to highlight for you is who your super goes to in the event of your passing. Very important and unfortunately inevitable. Uh, Super funds can generally only pay to a dependent or your estate. Okay, so dependents are considered a spouse, a child or children, a financial dependent, or someone that you actually share an interdependent relationship with. So a little bit of homework, checking who your current beneficiary is, and even if you have one. There are a couple of beneficiary nominations on the screen right now that you can see, but one I want to actually call out tonight or this evening is a binding nomination. So a binding nomination legally binds Brighter Super to pay your death benefit to your nominated beneficiary or beneficiaries. We have recently improved the services and now you can do this online. So if you are unsure, please jump onto the member portal again and have a look at who that might be for you, or if you're considering changing. One last thing to consider with this is it's something that you need to review regularly. So if things change, then it's something that you want to jump on pretty quickly. We understand it can be a bit of a complex issue. We actually do have a beneficiary webinar that takes place. The next one, if you want to write this down, is on the 1st of April. So you can always head to the seminar page to register for that one as well. There's a lot of great information in there. So actions for today. What can you do to make sure that your super is on track? It may be considering consolidating your accounts. Consolidating your accounts. So what does that mean? It means having multiple super accounts, which may not be uncommon, especially if you have had a range of jobs. So super funds tend to compile with, just starting a new job, start a new super fund, and it just multiplies from there. You can actually search for lost or unclaimed super held by the ATO by visiting that MyGov website. And from here, you can actually consolidate it all. So there's a few reasons why this might actually be a good idea for you. Firstly, if you have accounts with multiple super funds, you're probably going to be paying multiple lots of fees, and no one likes fees. So considering your funds, you're going to save some money if you potentially look to consolidate. And having all your super in one place can make paperwork easy. It's easier to track as well. So additionally, depending on your objectives, it's really important to review the performance as well of those funds in which you're a member, and consider this part as your decision-making process. Everybody's got different things that makes them where they see value. So I didn't recommend that you consider this as well. There may be also reasons to retain multiple accounts, and consolidation may not be actually right for you. So before consolidating, ensure that you review any insurances and the investment arrangements to make the informed and right decision for you. And if you don't know, you can always seek advice. So before we move on to Q&A with Chris, let's just summarise some further actions you may wish to take. So consider if you need or to have duplicate accounts, because you might be paying two lots of fees and insurance. Now, I know not all of us have duplicate accounts, but if you've got lots of jobs, you could have lots of accounts. So just have a look what's out there. You may surprise yourself. Some people call it, finding the lotto. So consider that. Also looking at to the balance, if you think there's not as much as you think there should be, you might actually have other super funds and accounts floating around out there. And also book in, if you wanted to book into do a super health check with us. Chris is one of our lovely people that do that as well. So there's no additional cost for this, and it's open to non-members as well. So for all you non-members that are out there, if Brighter Super sounds like somewhere where you'd like to see your super funds invested and deal with us and get excellent service, that's an option for you to do that. And I'll explain how to book in for a super check shortly. Make sure you've registered for online. So that's that member online portal I was talking about earlier. From there, you can manage your super online. You can update like your beneficiaries as well. You can have a look at your investment structure, update your personal details, and even consolidate accounts. So there's lots of action things that you can do there as well. The next one is consider advice. So not everyone wants to have advice straight away, but it is something that we can consider, and we do have lots of options for our members as well as Brighter Super at all different levels. So we've talked about the importance of getting advice several times already. Intrafund is actually included in your membership. So it's no additional cost, and it's not going to cost you anything to look at that. So I'll go through that in the next couple of slides for you. So what makes Brighter Super a little bit different to other super funds? Well, I know Chris and I would tell you it's our commitment to personal service, and we care. We've got a really great dedicated team of member account specialists and member account managers here really to support you. We're boots on the ground, and that's what we love doing. So if you'd like to talk to one of our staff members one-on-one for some more general information about super, you can book in for that super health check. And you can see that there's a scan here online now. The meetings are 15 minutes, no additional cost, and cover a range of things, not only like we've talked about tonight, but any other those queries or questions that you may have that you just haven't got the time to get around to. So you can certainly cover off those. If you'd like to book now, yeah, as I said, there's a QR code on the screen, and you'll also get a recording of today's webinar as well. So once you've got all that under order and done a little bit of homework and you feel really confident, the next step is to actually get that tailored advice and personal advice. So on the screen now, we've got some options. Brighter Super offers a range of personal advice to suit individual members' needs. So if you're looking for more specific information about making contributions or investment strategies, our intra-fund team is the place to go. So they're very specific in what they provide, and you can see under intra-fund advice on the left-hand side there, that's what they cover off. So this is a phone meeting with a financial advisor at no cost. So two of the common questions members also ask us is, I know Chris can rattle these off. How much super do I need in retirement, and do I have enough? Very, very common questions. And one of the ways to answer those questions is our retirement health check. It's with one of our financial advisors again, and they'll help you answer those questions. So we also have both scaled and comprehensive personal advice services. They're the two on the right-hand side of that slide there. And they take a complete view of your financial situation and tailor it to your individual needs. So the cost does depend on how complex the advice is. And the good thing to know, though, is it can be deducted from your Brighter Super account. So in terms of advice, it's never really too early to start planning, whether it's something like an intra-fund advice or a full comprehensive advice. We're here to help, and like I said before, we've got plenty of options for you. So please talk to us if you'd like to see which option's right for you. So similar to today's webinar, we've got a seminar webpage, which includes a range of different topics. I think I mentioned the beneficiary one earlier. So keep a look on that webinar seminar webpage. It's a mouthful. We update it all the time. So there's always new topics coming up that you can have a look at. We've discussed a range of the advice services that cover the super health checks with the intra-fund advice, both are at no additional cost to our members. And then we've got the retirement health checks and the scaled advice. Now on the screen, geez, poll question, let's go. After today's webinar, are you planning to get some advice? Awesome, fantastic, I love that. 69% of you saying, yes, I'm going to get some advice. That's fantastic. Love it. If you are working towards retirement and you do live in Brisbane, one, I hope you're safe and got everything prepared. But on another note, we'd like to invite you to our seminars next week. So we've got retirement advocate David Kosh, also known as Koshy. He's going to be joining us at these events. So Supersize Your Super is on the 12th of March in Brisbane City, and it's perfect for those people who are around about 10 to 15 years from retirement. And so that's going to be on the 12th of March in Brisbane City. And planning your brighter retirement on the 12th and 13th of March in Ipswich, if anyone's out that way. And North Brisbane, if you're on that side of town, then you've got planning your brighter retirement in the next 10 years. So if one of those categories suits you, please get in contact with us. We'd love to see you there. You can go on the Brighter Super website and or scan that Brighter Super QR code on your screen for the events page. So I have covered quite a lot today. Just keep in mind the resources tabs that I mentioned. Have a look at those calculators, and we've got a whole heap of info sheets on what we've discussed today as well. Okay. So I'm sure we've tried to answer so many of your questions today. I know that we've had lots which we've covered as well. I'm going to invite Chris back on the screen to see if we've got any outstanding that she'd like to talk about and discuss. And while we're doing that, I'll just move that along to the Super Health Check screen so that you can do that.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Really do appreciate it. Your presentation, I found it extremely interesting, especially how you were able to explain the differences between the asset classes in terms of investments. It was really interesting on the poll there that only 50% actually knew what they were invested in. So really, it's an opportunity there to, as Michelle said, do a bit of homework or book a Super Health Check so that we can take you through that to see how we can assist you in that regard. In regards to that, I think Michelle covered most of the questions that were there, and I am a bit mindful of time. So, in regards to that, if there are any questions, obviously, that we didn't answer, I would recommend, going through and getting a Super Health Check or call the contact centre, book some advice. It's part of your membership and we're here to help you along on that regard. So, thank you so much for joining us. I really do appreciate it. And thanks, Michelle. It was great.
Beautiful.
Well
Thanks,
done.
Chris. I'll see you around sometime very soon. But to everyone else, wherever you are, if you're in Brisbane, stay safe. We've got some wild weather coming. So have a good night, everyone. Thank you.